Hello everyone and welcome to another very nice game that just finished from the second round of the Stepan Avagyan Memorial Tournament. It is Shant versus Arjun Erigaisi. Now, some of you asked in the previous video whether it's possible for Arjun to break 2800 in this tournament if he wins every game. Yes, it is possible, but it would be, I mean, I would be without words if such a thing happened, not because Arjun cannot do it. Realistically, he should beat every one of the opponents that he faces, but so should Magnus. But getting a 9 out of 9 in a classical event is just, it just doesn't happen. It did happen, throughout history. Like, there are players who have achieved it, while it is possible, I would be very surprised if it happens, because everyone just plays so strong these days. Everyone is very well prepared, especially if a strong player comes along. Players will prepare something extra special. So we said in the previous video, as Arjun is so much higher rated than everyone else, he has to prepare something out of this world in order to get his opponent out of book and in order to get a game. But here he faces Shant. He's a world champion. In 2018 he won the World Youth Championship, and in 2019 he almost won the World Youth Championship and the World Junior Championship. He got second place in both in New Delhi and in Mumbai. So an incredibly strong player. He became a grandmaster at 17. He's 22 at the moment. So very, very, incredible player. And let's see what Arjun prepares against him. What Arjun prepares against the world champion. We have pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. The Ruy Lopez is on the board. And here we have pawn to f5, the so-called Yanish Gambit. In the candidates tournament, Peter Svidler and Pragnananda prepared the first Schliemann Gambit, the first Schliemann defense with first a6 and then pawn to f5, but here just pawn to f5 right away. So okay, this is very rarely seen in top level play. So already this could be a very nice surprise. But okay, Shant shows that he knows his theory. He plays very, very quickly. d3, f captures on e4, d captures, and knight to f6. We have castles, pawn to d6, and now knight to c3 and queen to d3 are the usual moves here. But Shant plays bishop to c4, and he plays it pretty much instantly. So he is still well within his preparation, and this is not good news for Arjun if his idea was to surprise him with this pawn to f5 move. So okay, we have bishop to g4. Now the idea behind it is that you have to be very careful what you play with black. Like, if you play a normal move like bishop to e7, even though it's weird to play such a move here, it's not like you're castling on the next move. But just in case you play it, let's say knight to g5, and you can already resign. You can play something like d5, okay, he captures, knight to a5 goes after the bishop, bishop d3, but you're down material and you can't really do all that much. If you capture with the queen, knight to c3 attacks the queen, queen to d6, already you fall victim to some knight captures on h7 nonsense, followed by queen to h5 if the knight moves. If the rook moves first, bishop captures, and then if the knight captures, then queen to h5 check. So they're just not a good way to play this. So that's why after bishop to c4, we have bishop to g4, now pinning this knight, and we have pawn to h3. We have bishop to h5, knight to c3, and queen to d7 by Arjun, preparing to castle queen side. We have knight to d5 and the castle's queen side, and this is already where something really cool happens. The position has been reached before, even in grandmaster games, and in all of them exclusively queen to d3 was played, and queen to d3 is by far the strongest move recommended by the engine. But here Shant plays rook to e1. He spent some something shy of 10 minutes on this move, and it's not the most precise way to play. Now, the reason why everyone moved the queen is to avoid knight to d4. This just looks very annoying, and it's not like you're going to play g4 to get out of this pin, even if you could, so many pieces attacking that g4 square. But he prepared something really awesome for Arjun, and that is knight to d4, and now just knight captures on f6, attacking Arjun's queen here. G captures, and now he plays knight captures on d4. He sacrifices his queen, only temporarily, as he will win it back on the next move. Bishop to e6 will, of course, win back the black queen. So bishop captures, we have bishop to e6, and now just bishop to h5 by Arjun. Bishop captures on d7, king captures, and now knight to f5. And now if you look at everything, it's equal material. Arjun does have two bishops versus a knight and bishop, but this is, well, we could say this is a monster knight on f5. So definitely compensation for the lack of the bishop pair. We have bishop to f7, bishop to h6. Opting for a trade here, we have pawn to c6 and rook a to d1. Shant completes his development, and his rooks are beautifully positioned here on the d and e file. We have king to c7 by Arjun, and pawn to f4, just breaking through. We have bishop to g6, and bishop captures on f8, rook h captures on f8, and now just pawn to g4. So the bishop pair has been eliminated, and now it's a knight versus a bishop. Now, okay, the game is played on both sides of the board, so a bishop should be a little bit better than a knight. However, as long as this bishop is stuck here on g6 and the knight so wonderfully placed on f5, this knight is stronger than the bishop. So pawn to b5 and king to f2. However, the tension goes in bishop's favor. The bishop can always capture a knight, and the knight cannot always capture the bishop. So it's like we say, every move when you calculate, you have to every move you have to recalculate bishop captures on f5. So that can be quite annoying. We have rook f to e8, and now king to g3, and finally Arjun eliminates the knight. The knight proves to be too strong. Bishop captures. We have e captures on f5, and now pawn to e4. And if you look at the time on the clocks, they were fairly similar at some point, but now Arjun is a little bit better. 27 minutes to Arjun's 38, and Arjun advances the pawn to e4. He is the first to create a pass pawn, but Shant also very, very close to creating a pass pawn on the king's side. We have pawn to g5, pawn to d5. We have pawn to b4, excellent move, stopping a5, and pawn to c5, but only seemingly, as Arjun plays pawn to a5. The idea is to somehow activate his rooks. Of course, if pawn captures, then rook to a8 will start collecting on the a file. So pawn to a3 and rook to a8. We have pawn to c3, king to d6, and now king to g4. Yeah, so it's definitely a race whether Arjun will be quicker with the central pawns, or will the king side pawns be faster. A captures on b4, a captures on b4, and now what do you play? Well, Arjun played rook to a2, and you're probably, if you load this position up to the engine will say rook to a3, best move, and it's a draw. But even though rook a3 is the best move, it's not one that allows you to play for the win the longest. And I will just show you why. Rook to a3, let's say g6, h captures, f captures, okay, rook captures on c3, and now rook to g1 will be met with e3, and now king f5, okay, the g pawn versus the e pawn, e2, rook d to e1, pawn to d4, pawn to g7, and now rook c to e3. You will sacrifice the rook, but you will win it back very quickly. g8 queen captures, and now pawn to d3. And yes, d2 is coming. For example, h4, king to d7 first. You don't want to see rook to d8 check, followed by rook captures on d2. So king captures, and now after pawn to d2, you will have to, of course, give back the rook to g1. And now d captures, rook captures, and it's a draw. Yes, white does have two pass pawns here, but the black pass pawn is already on e2, and you will create another one very quickly. So it can be played, but it is a glorified draw. But Arjun plays something much trickier, rook to a2, and what this does is it halts the race. He says, nope, it's a race, but it's not a race that starts just yet. We can still improve our position, because now if you play g6, you run into this very nasty checkmate. Rook to g2 check, king h5, h captures on g6 with check, f captures, and rook to h8 will be checkmate with the two rooks controlling the h and g file. So you have to try something else. Pawn to h4, and okay, it is the best move. Maybe king to h5 can also be considered. We have rook to c2, now seemingly going after the c2 pawn, And now the only way to play is to either march with the king h5, or you block with rook to c2, or you play rook to e3 to stop the advancement of the e-pawn, but you don't play what Shant played here. Shant played g captures on f6, he tripled his pawns, and now the position is completely winning for Arjun. He missed something very, very terrible. Feel free to pause the video here and win the game for Arjun while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on always studying the endgame. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is of course pawn to h5 with check. Looks like a silly move, but there is no there's no way out of it. Point is that if you advance up the board, then a rook check will be deadly. First rook to g2, obviously, and then with the king stuck on the h file, rook to h8 checkmate is unstoppable. You can be weird about it and prolong it for one move, but yeah, nothing is stopping rook to h8 checkmate. And even if you don't capture, if you play king to g5, it's exactly the same. King to g2, now you can capture, or you can go to h6, again, rook to h8 is checkmate. So this is what Shant missed, and that means he has to go back, and that means the c3 pawn falls with check, and that changes things drastically. So rook goes back, king goes back, king h3, rook captures on c3 with check, and now Arjun is up material. Well, for the moment the material is equal, but the tripled pawns on the f file, they will be quick work for the piglet on e8. King to h2, now comes pawn to e3. We have rook to g1, rook to f8. The pig is very hungry, and those pawns look very tasty. We have rook to g6, rook to c2 with check, preparing pawn to e2, king to g3, and pawn to e2, attacking the rook here. f7 check or goes for a discovery, king to d7, and now rook to a1, preparing some very nasty checks along the 7th and 8th rank. And now there is only one move that is winning for Arjun. Feel free to pause the video and win the game while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on always solving at least 50 endgame puzzles before having breakfast. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook to a2, the only winning move, and Arjun finds it. Now, of course, you cannot capture. If you capture, e1 queen comes with check. If it didn't come with check, it would still be worth it. Rook to a7 check would be a problem. But as it comes with check, you know, the queen will make quick work of the position. So after rook a2, rook to c1, but now the white rooks have nothing to do. Rook captures on f7. We have king to f3. Now rook to e7, advancing, preparing to advance the pawn to e1. So rook to e1. Now pawn to d4, and it's only a matter of d3, d2, d1, and that's it. Pawn to f6 attacks the rook. Rook to e3 with check. We have king f2, king to e6, guarding the f7 square. So f7 check going after the c6 pawn, but it doesn't matter. Captures, captures. We have rook to e4 going after the f4 pawn. King to f3, and now just rook to e7, stopping all checks, and d3, d2 is coming. We have rook to d6, pawn to rook to d2, and it was in this position on move 48 that Shant ESargsyan resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. So a valiant attempt by the former world youth champion, but Arjun seems to be too tough of a cookie to crumble, and yeah, the best way to show you why this is completely winning for black is that we'll try to find the move for white. The rook cannot move. This rook, I mean, what's it gonna do? You could maybe go after these two pawns. The pawn just marches forward, d3, and again, you're without a move. If you capture, then the rook just comes to d1. Even if you don't capture, the rook comes to d1 and you resign. If you capture, a queen comes into the game. If you do nothing, d2 happens. If you maybe defend with the king, still, we just trade and push the pawn, and that's all there is to it. Queen comes into the game, and now it's going to be a very, very quick checkmate. You don't even need the other rook to finish the game. Let's say king g3, rook e3, and that will be checkmate. So after rook to d2, he resigned, and another victory for Arjun Erigaisi. That makes it 2 in a row, and we'll see if he can make it all in a row and break 2800 in this tournament, like some of you are hoping. Like I said, it would be out of this world, and it's not impossible. But yeah, if you're an Arjun fan, definitely gives you something to look forward to. And you know, if he continues winning, I will be showing all of the games. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Very nice opening decision and very nice to pause the video moments. Hope you solved all of them. I would like to thank Timothy Larkin, Ding Power, William Cooper, E.K. McAllister, and Eric Keith McAllister for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.